Well, hello there. Hello, everybody. There's a dog flexing on me already. You know how it goes. You know how it goes. I say hello, and the dog immediately is like, it is time. It is time to deposit the treato into the dog. So let's do that. We'll do that, and then I'll greet you all once I'm not being actively harassed by a snoot. Let's give the dog a treat. Okay. You want a treat? Beef. Amazing. Praise. The dog gets a treat. It is so. That's how the day must begin. That's how we ensure that the world keeps turning. Hello, everybody. My name is Endeavorance. It is Wednesday, January 25th? 28th. And also a year. Opossum Ollie at 30 months. Rolling a 311. Holy shit. We've had a handful of big re-ups. Let's see. Ooh. Didn't know I could do that on my little dashboard. Okay, let's see. Ada Scout at 12 months. Opossum Ollie at 30 months. Holy God. Cuddlefish, thank you for the follow. And Selkie18, thank you for the follow. Hello, everybody. How are we doing? How are we? Don't answer that question. Don't answer that question. There's not gonna be a good answer for it. And that's on me for asking it in the first place. That one's on me. Right here. There's the dog. There's the dog. And Leon says I'm doing pretty good, actually. Well, I would hope. And Leon, because at the end of Leon is at the end of Resident Evil 4 when he saves the president's daughter and everything is great. So you should be doing pretty good. And Leon, that's good. I'm glad. I just started therapy again today, says Chief Burbs. That's good. Therapy is good. I've done a lot of that. I've done a lot of therapy. I think it's helping. See, I'm smiling. That means it's helping, right? I'm still breathing. That's all we can really ask for sometimes. That's all we can really ask for. I've been getting my ADHD dopamine hit by arguing with people in a Facebook group. That sounds terrible. That sounds awful. Hey, that sounds like the worst thing. If it's good for you, great. I'm not knocking it, like to each their own. I cannot think of a thing I would rather do less than argue with people on the faced book. The Book of Visages is just not where I'm trying to be on the internet, let alone talking to people on said book, let alone arguing with people on said book. Whew. It's just not my vibe. I like laying in the snow, says Brie Cheese. Here's the thing. I too enjoy laying in the snow. Here's the thing about that. Here's the thing about laying in the snow. Can't do it because it's not snow outside. It's just fucking ice outside. For those who are not in the Freedom Country, like among 40 states of the Freedom Country, more or less, it's very ice outside. Like, I know that we've been dealing with ice in Minnesota, and like everyone was already fucking sick of ice. And then a giant ice storm came through the entire country and dumped like 6 straight inches of solid ice on top of like 6 inches of powdery snow. So like, I go out to shovel, as does everyone in this country right now, and it's like you have to take a flat-bladed metal shovel just to like break apart the top layer of ice, and I'm just like hauling chunks of ice away by hand because it's easier than trying to get at it with a shovel. So I'm just like breaking up chunks of ice and throwing them aside while then having to go back through and get all the slush underneath. It's the worst of both worlds with regards to a snowstorm. If I was a child, if I was a wee babe, if I was just out the womb, right, give or take 8 or 10 years, I'd be so unhappy with this snow day, right? Like my school is canceled for the week, but if I go outside, the ground hurts. Like it's too bright and everything is hard and icy and sharp. Like it's not good sledding weather. It's just bullshit. It's unfortunate. You can't just go out and make yourself a snowball. You can't just go out and make yourself a snowman. It's all just ice. The ground is a deadly laser. The ground is a very deadly laser. All I got from this is that Dev beats ice with shovels. Yes, that's accurate. That is the right thing to do. Yes. Use the power of chemistry by adding salt to the ice and letting it handle itself. But the problem is when it's like 14 inches of snow and then ice. Salt doesn't do a whole lot. It just sits on top, and then it's -5 degrees outside, so it doesn't not freeze. The dog's on the move. Hold on. There we go. Got to get it cozy. Got to get it cozy. Perfect. Wonderful work. Excellent job. Very good. Flamethrower. I've considered grabbing like a hairdryer and going at some of it, but I'm not sure that that's actually going to work a whole lot. The salt doesn't work under like 20 freedom degrees, so even if you shovel and have a thin layer of ice, the salt ain't doing anything. I've largely been trying to keep the ground clear and then salt the ground, and that helps keep it from refreezing. But as far as like preventing the ice buildup to begin with, I don't think there would really be a possibility of that happening, aside from like I went out and shoveled 3 times as it was coming out, or as it was coming down throughout the day. And like each time that I went out, it was coming down harder and it was less snow and more ice. So it's just like, even with trying to get at it while it was coming down, there was only so much that anyone could really do, which is also why like I'm seeing a lot of people talk about how, you know, at least around me, there's a lot of places that have been barely serviced by plows so far. We just like straight up don't have the capacity to handle this kind of weather and this amount and this level of ice. Like we maybe have the machinery in our municipality to handle this much snow, but not this much snow and then straight up ice. So like most neighborhoods are still completely unplowed, completely fucked. And I don't see that changing in the next like few days. And what's kind of unfortunate is like, I don't actually know that we could have done much more aside from have a very strong plan in place far ahead of time, right? Like the snowstorm was incoming. Our options were go buck wild salting everything and trying to get everything ready and like schedule crews to be plowing like all throughout the storm 24 hours a day, or figure it out after the fact. And apparently we chose figure it out after the fact. I want to build a snow moomin, but it's too cold. What's a snow moomin? Cow? A snow cow? Mooman? Just tell the snow, nuh-uh. That's a... I didn't consider that. That's on me. I didn't consider that. That's on me. I'm sorry. I should have stepped outside when the storm was coming and been like, yo, fucking don't. I should have met the snowstorm in the marketplace of the ideas. I should have debated the snowstorm and defeated it with facts and logic. That's what I should have done. Texas got wrecked, but our power grid held out this time. Is that true? Because I've seen the polar opposite. Texas power grid, like your local power grid, if it held out, great. News about Texas power grid. Trying to keep the grid stable. No, it says remain stable. I know that there was an outage at some point, but power grid remains stable as freezing temperatures continue across Houston. ERCOT, not to be confused with CCOT, manages the state's power grid. It's closely monitoring electricity supply and demand in real time. Wow. An electricity provider is monitoring supply and demand in real time. Incredible. Dashboard. Oh, look at this. Damn. Okay. We've got a state. Real-time locational prices. Oh, shit. Over $5,000 for a light bulb? Wait, what is this for? What's the price of... Price of what? Hover over to few points to view details. $41. $49. What is this measuring? SCED pricing. What is help? There's a help button. Help? Real-time market. All right, this is important. Welcome to my stream, this is important. Wholesale prices are displayed as real-time locational prices, are displayed in the real-time locational prices map, offering a dynamic view of real-time resource node locational marginal prices and both day-ahead market and real-time settlement point prices through the ERCOT region. The dashboard also includes real-time price adders listed outside the maps. You got online reserves, offline reserves, reliability deployment. Great. Okay, so the real-time locational prices map has 3 data displays. Pay attention. Pay attention to this. You've got real-time LMPs, real-time SPPs, and day-ahead SPPs. But the view types, you've got 2 of them. You've got the standard gradient and the high gradient. Now, the standard gradient, it represents 34 preset contour levels from -$250 to $9,000. But the high gradient, it represents 34 contour levels determined by the min-max values of the data. But what's interesting about that, and this is the part that no one's ever really talking about, is that real-time LMPs are updated after every SCED run. Real-time SPPs are updated every 15 minutes, and day-ahead SPPs are updated daily when DAM closes. This automatic browser refresh rate is every 5 minutes for the RTM LMP, and RTM SPP DAM SPP is refreshed every hour. All prices are in dollars per megawatt hour. So I hope that clears it up. Does that help? Is that useful? How many viewers did I lose while we were doing that? Did I get reported? Did anybody report me for misinformation with regards to LPPs and SPPs? Oh, there's a bear. We're fighting a bear, which is a workplace hazard. You all were upset about the fact that the bear was just kind of chilling and there was not a reason to fight the bear. So I have now given you a reason to fight the bear because the bear is a workplace hazard. Okay. I'm so glad that I know that information now. It's important stuff. This is the kind of thing that they don't teach you in school. A megawatt is 1,000 kilowatts. No, I disagree. Again, meet me on the debate stage. Does the bear have OSHA training? Not this one. Those were certainly some letters. They were absolutely letters. And what's interesting about these letters is that I don't know what most of them meant. So that's very good. Hey, so let's see. I've got topics written on my topics list of topics. This is it. You can clearly see all of them. And let's see. What do I got on here? Heated rivalry. I wrote heated rival. I don't know what to talk about it though. I can talk about heated rivalry. I've watched it, some of it. It's a lot of butts. So the interesting thing about heated rivalry is that they really optimized for BPM, which is butts per minute, right? It's got a very high BPM. Normally BPM is used to like measure, you know, beats per minute, but they really wanted to optimize for butts per minute, and they did it. They really did it. I was not intending to watch the gay hockey show. It's the gay hockey show. Yeah, yes, Nitro Nick is the gay hockey show. Heated Rivalry is a show about fucking. Except for the people who are fucking are also ripped, dehydrated hockey player boys, one of whom is Russian. And then also there's a side plot with a dude who makes smoothies and another guy, and they also bone. But I don't remember what happens to them if there's smoothie ever after or what. You know, one guy that helps another guy make some smoothies. We'll put it that way. So, you know. But here's the thing. It was pretty good. Like I was like, it's the kind of show that like I was in the room where it was playing, so I cannot say that I have a comprehensive understanding of exactly what went down. But here's my understanding of heated rivalries as someone who glanced up at it now and then while it was playing on a TV near me. It is a show that is genuinely, actually, kind of fun to watch, and it is about hockey players who are supposed to be like worldwide rivals, but they're secretly gay for each other, and they're trying to hide that. But they're also really dumb. Like, they're so dumb about it. They're just like constantly ignoring their feelings and doing the whole like, oh, well, I'm gonna be passive aggressive and like sleep with this other person and try to make you jealous. But then the latter half of the show is just kind of like them getting down for a while. What's it on? HBO, I believe. It's essentially, it's quite literally, someone wrote an extremely smutty fan fiction about gay hockey players. So smutty that the author herself is quoted in saying that she thought her book was unadaptable to television, and then it was adapted to television, and it's like a worldwide phenomenon because it's, I'm not trying to diminish anyone's role in this. I genuinely can see that it is they put in the work and it's good. Every person that I've heard talk about this show in reality is like, they're so hot. Oh, their butts and their abs. And it's like, okay. I get it. I know that we're not even trying to pretend that it's about the plot. Like, the plot, there was some plot. I enjoyed it. We know why we're here. This sounds awful. I mean, it's, you know, it's to each their own. If you like will they, won't they, romantasy, enemies to lovers, plus lots of like lots of suddenly the note, like there was a lot of moments in the show where I would glance up and I would be like, oh, they're like still shirtless. This doesn't seem like a moment where someone would be shirtless. Oh, we're pantsless too. All right, we're just not wearing anything. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if I glanced up and they're in the middle of a grocery store just not wearing a shirt. And they're like, oh, I couldn't wear a shirt because I spilled olive oil on it. Mom Donnie telling people to read Heated Rivalry is funny. Yeah, so the New York City Public Library made Heated Rivalry available to everybody through Valentine's Day. Because they were like, hey, stay inside. Like, don't go outside. Stay inside, read a book. Heated Rivalry is free from the library. We love a smutty mayor. Look, there is absolutely Mamdani fanfiction, right? That's a guarantee, correct? Let's see. AO3. Zoran Mamdani. Oh no. Oh, I'm consenting. All right. Let's see. We got Zoran Mamdani and the Journalist, Unexpected Truce, Manifest. In the Dark Lies the Unclouded Bliss by Levi's Big Boobs. Elon Musk, Donald Trump, Zoran Mamdani and Donald Trump. Oh no. Oh no. Wait, New York City, New York, anthropomorphic? Anthropomorphic New York City? All right, I'm gonna need to, I don't know, guys. America's fucked. What a tag! What a tag! Low-key, anyone outside of American, what are your opinions so far? No smut, sprowny face, fluff. New York recently broke up with Andrew Cuomo due to his lack of effort in wooing her. Zoran Mamdani steps in and makes everything better. Hold on. Wait. Oh my god. Wait, it could have adult content. Everyone be careful. I've already labeled this stream as 18 plus. We're fine. We're fine. Let's see. Zoran Mamdani had a lunch meeting to go to, an incredibly important one considering his lunch date would be New York. He's been trying to win her over for the past couple of months, and he could just tell he was on the cusp. Not that he had any ill intentions, he truly loved her. The wind breezes by and a bell chimes in as he steps into the restaurant. Hello, I have a reservation for Mamdani? Right this way, sir, the waitress responded, guiding him to a candlelit booth with the most beautiful women he's ever seen. Sure, Zoran had been seeing New York for a while now, but the awe never truly went. Her laugh, her jokes, just her entire essence was harmony. He quickly snapped out of his daze to move into the booth further. I'm not reading this. Oh my god, this is incredible. New York fidgeting with her fork. Well, you know how things could have been going. Andrew Cuomo. Oh my god, incredible work. Truly incredible work, everybody. Well done, 10 out of 10. AO3 is a blessing. You might not, but I definitely am. Make an audio read for the Patreon. I already am like a full calendar year behind on my first dramatic reading of fan fiction on my Patreon, and really should get back to working on that. But it's half done. For anybody wondering, I was doing a dramatic reading of the infamous My Immortal fan fiction, the Harry Potter fan fiction about everything. So there's about half of that done. I need to finish it at some point. I'm all in for saying there's a precedent for anthropomorphic New York City. Yeah, absolutely. I just want to know, like, I'm picturing the Statue of Liberty, right? Like, if I'm picturing anthropomorphic New York City, I'm picturing literally the Statue of Liberty, green and all, just human-sized and walking around. We'll pay for Dev to create smut audiobooks. I should look into this. I've got a friend who is a bona fide voice actor, who does a lot of smut audiobooks. Like he's an actor / voice actor, and like has kind of over the past handful of years really solidified himself as like a major player in like audiobook smut. And so he's like been doing a whole lot of that, and shares a few of the snippets of what he's reading every once in a while. And it's people get creative. People are very creative. But I should talk to him about getting in on that fucking smut money. You must play My Immortal by Evanescence while reading My Immortal. I mean, have you seen the, hold on. let me pull up the thumbnail image for that. Oh God, what happened? Oh no. I crashed my entire ass web browser. Let's not do that. Okay. What am I looking for? What am I doing? I'm trying to find an image to show you because it's a good image. Where would I find that image? That would be on my YouTube channel. Content. There it is. Oh God. No, wait. Yes. Okay, this was a journey, but we got there eventually. So this is the this is what I was trying to show you. This is the cover art for the My Immortal fanfiction reading, Devanescence. So very relevant is all I'm trying to say. It is art indeed. So that was worth it. Got a new computer for a deal at an industrial surplus hut, installed Linux, just yanked my Windows system off my desk and stuffed the Linux system in its place. Might not swap back. Nice. Yeah, I mean, like, fucking modern Windows is unusable, in my opinion, but it's... Yeah. Linux is... There are certain Linux distributions that are very, very approachable. I would not recommend the average person just, like, jump in blindfold, or, blind into using Linux, but it is definitely getting more usable for sure. In fact, actually, that's not true. A lot of people probably would be able to be given a like Ubuntu laptop or just like general, one of the more like user-focused Linux distributions and like not know it's not Windows for a while, I would think. Try Endeavor OS. Whenever I see Endeavor OS, I'm like, that's infringing on my copyright. Time to bring back DOS. I have a very strong memory of one of my early computers that I had, which was like, my dad was a computer engineer, and that's why I'm a big computer boy. And so we had like old computer equipment lying around. And I had like an old desktop that was shitty for the time even. And it ran some like a really early Windows, like a version of Windows that was early enough that you still had to boot Windows from DOS. Like you had to like turn on the computer and it would just be a command prompt and you had to type win to run Windows. My cousin once came over and wanted to use my computer and couldn't figure out how to get into it. And so I wasn't aware that he had made his way to that computer and was trying to essentially break into the computer. And I come back to that computer later and just find the result of him desperately trying to figure out what command to type to start Windows. And so it's just like, I get there and there's a command prompt with a bunch of things that just say like, start, let me in, computer, go, access, log in. Just like increasingly angry, like, you stupid computer. And that's pretty much my experience with all computers, is just like having that dialogue back and forth with it. I remember that era of computing. It was a beautiful era. I miss the era. I genuinely miss dial-up, right? Like, you had to commit to being on the internet. You're like, I want to go online now. I'm going to turn off the ability for me to take phone calls, and I'm going to listen to the ghost in the fucking machine sing a song, and then I'm going to connect with the slowest possible connection to like a few servers. And now what do we have? We've got fucking TikTok, owned by Oracle or whatever. Everything got worse from there. We never should have increased internet speed. he said, streaming high definition video to hundreds of people. Wasn't it like *67 to disable call waiting? Yeah, it was like *67. That was the first time I've ever done that motion, actually. Y'all were here for that. I haven't done that yet. I've always felt a little weird about it because it looks like juggling like boobs. Kind of, you know? Like seeing a bunch of kids go like this, it's just like mildly suggestive. Yeah, man, dial-up days were like reading a book on that 50 Mbps. You got to marry that web page you click. It was not 50 Mbps, unless you're talking about, I think you're talking about baud. You mean like 50 baud, not megabits per second. 50 megabits per second is somewhat capable. You're probably talking about K, like 56K. $28K modem, yeah. Hey, it's time for a drink. Hydrate? I can hydrate. Thank you. Thank you. Anyway, yeah, so on my topics list, heated rivalry. We talked about that. That's good. That's good. That's good. I want to talk a little bit about we talked about this new. That's good. Let's talk about ICE. Let's talk about ICE. I don't want to do this, but I haven't had a chance to talk about any of this since Alex Preddy was killed. So in Minnesota, we're essentially watching the government trying to push as far as they can with their current vibe, right? They have been trying to test how far they can go with normies before normies break from their support, right? There's a lot of people in the United States who still are barely paying attention, right? And that isn't really something we can be upset about at this point. It's just not. Like, it's just reality, and like, it's annoying. It's very, very fucking annoying. There's a lot of people that try their hardest to not pay attention. But it is the fact of the matter. And those people are the ones that politicians are trying to keep convinced that they're doing something slightly productive without impacting those people. And those people want to continue along their day not being impacted. They want to continue to benefit from the status quo, or at least continue to be ignored by the status quo. And when it gets to the point that those people can't continue being in their little isolation that they've been enjoying, and they have to acknowledge that, like, oh, externalities exist, that's when you piss off the average American. And so when we're seeing footage days after we just saw another person being executed by ICE, days after we saw someone executed by ICE on New Year's Eve, like 3 murders back to back to back, with each one getting more direct, more visible and egregious. Like, or I should say, like, visible and like obviously egregious, right? Like each one, you know, you've got Keith Porter was killed, but there wasn't video of it. Renee Good was killed, and the video, while there was absolutely obvious video of it, they were trying their best to muddy the waters and make it, make that video represent different things. And then Alex Preddy is killed, and it's like, there's no way to spin this. So much so that, like, we're now in a place where the Republican administration is like, well, he shouldn't have had a gun. Responsible citizens don't carry guns. Like, that's where we are. And that's actually, I want to take a quick second to say, like, Trump has always been anti-gun. And anyone who thinks that Trump is pro-gun, or that even the Republican Party is pro-gun, is lying to themselves. They're pro getting money from the NRA and they're pro keeping the people who are gun nuts happy, because those people will always vote for them because they've spent decades talking about how the Democrats are going to take your guns or whatever, when that's just like never happened. And so then now we've got Trump on camera being like, oh, he shouldn't have had a gun. I don't like that he had a gun. Like, responsible citizens don't have guns. Like, that's fucking wild shit, dude. There's a bit of infighting, but honestly, I want to be really clear. Like, there was all this stuff about how Greg Balvino, however the fuck his name is pronounced, the guy who's like the Nazi dude at the head of ICE, they were gonna like pull him out and instead put Tom Homan there. Tom Homan's not better, but also a lot of the like liberal outlets are painting it as Republicans like turning on their own and turning on Noam and Miller and everything. I am not seeing that, frankly. Like, I'm not seeing that happen. I'm seeing them all working to save their own asses, right? Like, whenever anything, the second that shit hits the fan for them, they are all going to go scrambling. Trump will not save anyone but himself, and all of the rest of them are going to have to try to figure out, do I attach myself to Trump or distance myself from Trump? And they don't know what to do ever. And so they're all scrambling to save their own asses. And in that crossfire, some people are getting thrown under the bus more than others. But then they turn around and get their messaging on point, and you've already got Trump defending Noam, saying that she's doing everything right. So, like, I wouldn't assume this is anywhere near de-escalating. Nothing has fundamentally changed on the ground in Minnesota, as far as I can tell. Everyone that I've talked to says that they're still hiding people in their house. They're still running errands. Sorry, this just fucking sucks. Like, they're still running errands for people. You know, white people running errands for people of color, because it's safer for the white people to go do that. Because if you're a person of color, or if you have a mild accent, ICE might just abduct you. And we're seeing them abduct people, not charge them with anything, take them to one of these fucking holding facilities that might be across the entire country, and then sometimes eventually releasing those people with no legal recourse. So it's like genuinely risking your life and livelihood to go outside in Minnesota, in Minneapolis at least, and other places around Minneapolis. But what's fucking awful is the Democrats' response to all of this, which is, oh, I refuse to fund ICE unless they get better training and some oversight and you know, some accountability. But I will not fund ICE unless they're going to get a little bit of training and oversight. Well, I'll fund them then. But I'm not going to fund ICE otherwise, until we send them to Israel to get more training from the IDF, because then that would make it so that it'd be safe. But otherwise, I'm not going to fund ICE. Right? Like, if you look at any fucking Democrat statement right now, it's just like, I refuse to vote for a bill to fund ICE unless there's blah, 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 blah. And it's like, no, the unless is exactly the problem. The unless is exactly why you are so bad at this. And it's like, I don't expect anything from Democrats, really. Like, I know that they're just playing their part in the ratchet effect, right? Like, they are there to act like a resistance party while maintaining the interests of the extremely far-right investor class. And so, like, it's not ever going to be a useful thing to expect the current Democrats to do something useful. It's why Chuck Schumer is still writing strongly worded letters. It's because they don't actually want to stop this, right? They don't actually want to stop ICE. They don't actually want to pull out of Venezuela. They don't actually want to reverse most of the stuff that Trump's doing, aside from some of the fiscal policy that's making it so that we are losing our grip on some, like, trade stuff. So, like, the Democrats are genuinely in on it. Right. There's no other explanation for how they could just so readily ignore their constituents, aside from they don't give a shit. They're just taking whatever their donors are saying, which is why like we've seen polls coming out with abolishing ICE becoming a majority opinion. And Democrats are still like, oh, I don't know. I just don't want to jump to any extremes, you know. We can't just be so reactive. Like, guys, do you want to win ever? Like, even outside, I don't expect. I'm not a Democrat. I don't canvass for the Democrat. I don't encourage donating to them. I don't wish for a day where they have full control over everything because then everything will be fixed. Like, no. And also, I don't want Republicans in power. And so that's my relationship with the Democrat Party, basically, right? And so it's just like, you motherfuckers, if you want to be like impotent, you can at least be in power and impotent, because then you would at least be doing nothing while nothing is happening. But instead you're doing nothing while a bunch of shit is happening. And that's obnoxious. I'd rather just have like, it's what I've talked about before with harm reduction, right? It's like, we could be trying to fundraise and push back and change hearts about stuff like what's going on in Gaza, and instead the people in Minneapolis have to hide minorities in their homes. And that's because we have fucking Donald Trump as a president, because no, Kamala Harris would not be sending ICE into a blue sanctuary city to harass its residents. Like, that's just not what the reality would have been. And this isn't a, you should have voted for Kamala. It's just, this is what happens when people are apathetic, and then we get this. Repeal the Homeland Security Act. Yeah, like, abolishing ICE is not a new concept. It's just people didn't really think, like, a lot of people in America are scared of the idea of getting rid of some form of law enforcement. A lot of it is just like rampant propaganda for ever, right? I have another thing on my notes here, right here. It says Zootopia 2 breaks records, because Zootopia 2 recently became the highest grossing animated film ever. And look, I know a lot of that is just furries. I know, I get it. I know. It's also propaganda. Like, it's also still propaganda. I love Psych. Psych is a great show. I really enjoy that show. Very funny, very good. It's propaganda. It's a show about like murder case detectives solving murder cases. You know what doesn't get solved most of the time? Murders. Like, it's propaganda. At the end of the day, it is at some level, it is still associating cops with justice and like cops with being effective. And it paints this imaginary world where police are the only way that we can possibly have order. And so then people get really terrified about this idea of not having that, because they're like, oh, but then it'd be chaos. And so for a long time, it was like, oh, abolish ICE. ICE is not an agency that existed when I was born. It doesn't need to exist. It was created in response to 9/11, right? And so, like, abolishing it has been a popular opinion among progressive leaning people for a long time. And we've gotten to the point now where normal people, as I said at the outset of this fuck ass rant, normal people are now forced to watch citizens being executed in the street by ICE. And they're like, oh, that's what they meant by abolish ICE. Oh, now it makes sense. Like, people are really, really slow to drop the notion that cops stop crime, right? How many times have you seen the classic, like, if someone says like, oh, we should defund the police, they get clapped back with someone being like, well, next time someone breaks into your house, I hope you don't call a cop, or something to that effect, right? Which is a fundamental misunderstanding of how break-ins work and what cops do when someone breaks into your house. And also, again, what cops do, period. But cops don't stop crimes. They react to them and sometimes investigate what happened, and a small percentage of that time find something and do something about it. But mostly they are doing paperwork and pulling people over to fill quotas and otherwise beating their wives. I have conservative friends saying it now. That's the thing too, is like, I get it. I know that the issue is we're not dealing with the conservative party, right? We're dealing with a fascist party. We're dealing with a white nationalist, Christian nationalist party. We're dealing with MAGA, right? And MAGA, to be clear, like, needs to become synonymous with Nazi more than it already is. It needs to be a taboo. It needs to be a social faux pas to be even remotely associated with it. It needs to be the kind of thing where it's like you found out that your great grandpappy had a MAGA hat. That needs to be the equivalent of finding your great grandpappy's SS sash, right? Like that needs to be the same. Supporting this shit is egregious. It's just absurd. And so like the people who are supporting this, you've got, like Tim Pool, for example. There's a clip of Tim Pool talking about how they're cheering this on. It's not hypocrisy that conservatives are cheering on the federal government, stamping the boot down because they're cheering on the boot. It's their boot. Like, this is Tim Pool's words. He's like, that's my boot. I'm the one doing the stomping. So it's not hypocritical because I'm cheering on the ones doing the stomping and I'm the one that voted for this. It's my boot. That's the way they see it. They truly, like, they're weak fucking losers that truly need to vote for the federal government to hurt their perceived enemies, who are mostly women and minorities and marginalized people. So because they're like little weak bitch boys, they're out here saying all that shit. But a lot of people are upset about how, conservatives are supporting government overreach left and right with abortion, overturning abortion. Like, we gotta turn it back to the states, and then trying to make it so that the states can't do anything about it and the federal government rules it anyway. Or saying, oh, we're gonna send in a federal force into a state, into a city that didn't vote for the current administration, that doesn't have a policy upholding working with the current administration's forces, and isn't a fucking border city. And so, like, we've got conservatives who are supporting that because in reality they are just fascists, and what Tim Pool is saying is accurate, whether or not they accept it or internalize it or are willingly able to say it like that. The reality is they are perfectly fine supporting this because it furthers their cause. It's not about having moral consistency, having virtue. They're afraid of that. They are intimidated by moral consistency and virtue. They assume that everyone is as shitty and self-serving as themselves, which is why they can't even begin to conceptualize the idea of these protesters in Minneapolis organizing to help each other. That's why they all jump immediately to, oh, they're all paid protesters, because they can't imagine a world in which people actually genuinely care about each other and their neighbors and their immigrant communities. And so they're out here saying, oh, it's my boot. I'm happy that this is happening, and it's not hypocrisy, but they're breaking with the people who do see how absurd this is. Because when you've been a conservative your whole life and you've been buying guns and spending your life arguing why we need to have gun control, when you've put your reputation on the line and you've been like, no, we just watched Sandy Hook, but the idea of talking about gun control is anti-American, right? If you're the kind of person who has done that, if you've gone out on a whim and defended gun rights in the face of all these school shootings, and then now the government is like, oh, by the way, we are allowed to kill you if you have a gun. We can label you a domestic terrorist. And like, it had to happen specifically to a white dude who was protecting a woman and had a legally owned firearm that he did not touch, and there was video proof that he did not touch it. And then we finally got them being like, oh, maybe in this one specific case, in this isolated case, this is the one time that the government was too quick on the draw with explaining what happened, and the agents were just overwhelmed and made a mistake, but should be punished or should be taken off duty. But clearly, there's no other instances of this happening, right? Like, they're trying so hard, they're so close to realizing I've been fucking brainwashed, but they can't get there because it would destroy them. So, like, I don't actually know what has to happen to get past the like compartmentalizing everything. I don't know what people need to experience to fully finally click. I know that it's not going to ever be a click for anyone. It's going to be a progressive, slow transition out of being in the cult and into like learning how the world works. But it's rough. It's rough to sit around as a person who pays attention and watch as people who have spent my entire life yelling about how everyone deserves to have guns then turn around and be like, well, he shouldn't have had a gun. But even that is too much for them. And the normies who are trying to be somewhat tuned in to politics are starting to realize like, oh, the people who told me that I was wrong for supporting Trump because Trump said that he was going to lower grocery prices, maybe they weren't hysterical and wrong. Oh. Cognitive dissonance or cognitive dysentery? Cognitive dissonance. Can't spell endurance without endeavorance, kind of. There's no you. So no. But kind of. The term domestic terrorist is literally anti-Second Amendment. Having a citizen militia is the point to balance government power. Yeah, the people, the whole they should just comply. ICE is totally justified in doing this. The grossest thing is seeing fucking conservatives trying to take that line. I mentioned this before. Conservatives are trying to take the line of like, Minnesota voted for this by way of saying like Minnesota voted for representation that does not align with the current regime. And since that local representation is beefing with the regime, they deserve to be punished. And so like a lot of conservatives are currently going with the just comply. If you just complied, you wouldn't be dead. If Minnesota just allowed ICE to do this, then everything would be fine. And so it's their fault that the bad things are happening because they are the ones who are resisting. It's the rapiest fucking mindset I can possibly imagine. And it's terrifying. It's terrifying to think that there are people who can at all come to that conclusion about a population, let alone a single person. Do you think it's a sunk cost thinking that they've gone so far they can't imagine stepping back because they can't stomach the idea that they were so in the wrong? Yeah, it's a literal like psychological defense mechanism. Psychological thing where you can't change your worldview. What is this called? Is that just cognitive dissonance? I guess it's just cognitive dissonance. Well, point being, there's a like studied reaction that happens in your brain where your brain will protect you from essentially psychic damage when you are presented with something that is so incongruent with your current worldview that it cannot be explained without shattering the foundation of your belief system. And because shattering that foundation is very adjacent to... Oh, I've got a dye on my face. Because that shattering that foundation would be very adjacent to like social death, it's terrifying. I talked last stream, a couple streams ago, about how the human brain evolved to mesh with other humans in a society, right? If you think about, and this is straight from my therapist, so thanks my therapist. If you think about humans living back in the Stone Ages in a cave, right? You got a bunch of humans living in a cave, and if you get kicked out of that cave, you're probably gonna fucking die between like the elements and the saber-toothed tigers and shit. Like, you don't want to get kicked out of the cave. And so like your brain, it evolved, literally a part of your survival was socially meshing with other people. And that's why, you know, if you have a shitty interaction with somebody, you might overthink like, oh man, that was not a great interaction. I feel bad about what I just did. I feel as though I should make right. You know, all of those emotions, all of those things, people experience to different degrees, but they're literal survival tactics. Now, extrapolate that a little bit into modern day with the church, right? or religion in general. Or really take like any basis of your point of view, religion or science, or maybe you're like like super into like physics and natural law and shit. All of these things with varying degrees of potential provability are frameworks with which to experience the world and with which to see the world and with which to interact with the world, and how you go about applying your morals, how you go about understanding the things that are happening. And if you are a member of the church, for example, you're seeing a lot of this through the lens of divine intent. And you're seeing a lot of this through the lens of whatever you've been told by your congregation forever. And that congregation is your family. It's your community. These are all the people that you've known your whole life. They are probably your neighbors, your family. They're the people that your kids are going to grow up and marry. They are the people that you know, the ones in your community. And if you are shown somehow perfect evidence that God does not exist, the easiest thing to do would be to assume the person who's showing you that is one of the bad guys that you were warned about, who will try to break your faith, and then stick with your faith. Right? It's a lot easier to say, well, this is a bad guy. I was warned that people would challenge me on my faith and that this is a test. And so I'm going to work my way through this and maintain my worldview. Even if they could prove with 100% certainty that they were correct and you were wrong, that is just a thing your brain will do, because you don't want to lose that connection to your community, because it's equivalent to death. Like, it is functionally the same. So it's really, really hard. If you don't have an active understanding of that process, and you don't know how to identify it when it's happening, and you don't learn the skill of pushing back on it and intentionally making yourself uncomfortable while learning new information by reminding yourself, by staying humble about the fact that you don't know everything. And that's a good thing that you don't know everything, because then you wouldn't be learning stuff and life would be boring and suck. So like learning to focus on knowing your limitations, acknowledging them as a normal human and good thing, and even seeing them as a superpower. Your limitations, your gaps in knowledge give you a chance to go learn something new, and in doing so continue to flex that muscle of how to be a person that always grows. So like, see that as a good thing. I believe organizing to oppose and impede government atrocities is exercising your Second Amendment rights, regardless of if you're carrying a gun or not. Similarly, having bare arms counts. Like if you're a shapeshifter, also counts. I thought I left religion behind, but then found that we keep recreating it in parts everywhere anyway as human beings, at least in function. This is very salient, and I'm very glad. Jads, thank you for writing this. Yes, like religion gets replaced by other things for a lot of people. There's a lot of atheists who replace religion with like atheist thinkers, right? Like the entire like fedora wearing science atheist boy side of atheism. It's essentially religion. Like they deify these like authors like Carl Sagan and shit, which like Carl Sagan was a smart dude and made some good stuff, but they like deify him. It's essentially a religion. It still is. They still have their like rituals, their performative statements of association with their belief system. And like that's kind of fine. It's just this is just what humans do. Like humans need a thing to rally around that is meaningless. Because like what else are we gonna do? Right? We like, we're all kind of fractured and doing whatever. You know what? There's a big dude up there, and he like made us. Let's try to talk to the big dude up there Cool, I'm in. You in? Great. Awesome. Oh, yo, I'm his son. Cool. Sure. Let's go for it. Like, what else are we gonna do? Or like, you know, you're in the past and a solar eclipse happened. And you're like, well, gods must exist because what else could this possibly be? I was thinking about it. Think about this ice storm that just happened. Imagine that you're just like chilling before the advent of the local Doppler radar. And here comes this crazy fucking storm we just had that, like, you know, you're sitting there in your thatched roof house or whatever, looking over at your hoop and stick that you've been playing with today. You did a lot of hooping and sticking today, and it's starting to snow out. And you're just like, oh, okay, it's snowing. Snow happens. That's fine. That's normal. And then the snow gets worse and worse and worse, and then turns into just ice, sheets of ice falling from the sky. And now there's 14 inches of solid fucking ice on the ground everywhere. And you have like a horse. Maybe. Your chickens are gone, first of all. Like, what do you do? They didn't have, you know, people on TikTok saying, hey, everybody, go run to the stores and buy stuff. Like, they didn't have an early warning system from their municipal government texting all of them. I don't even think they had cell phones back in the colonial days. Thatched roof cottages! If the Pope excommunicates Vance, I'd consider adopting Catholicism. I'd be there too. That'd be good. That'd be hilarious. Oh my God. Or you could just look into the abyss and not blink. That's what I've been doing this entire time. We're in the abyss. This is just, this whole thing is just what I'm experiencing in the abyss. All of you included. My deity is green, kind of sparkly, sometimes smells oddly of skunk. Weed? Is that, are you saying your deity is weed? That's more of a substance than a deity, but I mean, like, sure. Religion is our species' reaction to the life-death cycle. It's how we grasp at comprehension of those big, difficult things. Some use it to bring communities together, others use it to take control. I would argue that our species' reaction to the life-death cycle was Expedition 33, but that's a pretty close set. Religion's a pretty close second. That's fair. That's a good assessment. I like that. Weedy Potter says you rang. Someone rang. Macman30331 says, man, ice sucks. Agreed. I'm gonna pet the dog real quick. I just realized I haven't pet the dog. Hold on. Oh, he awake. Gotta love on the dog. I should probably go to therapy, even though I can't afford it. Lamau. The amount of money that I've spent on therapy, y'all. I could have bought like the cure to depression by now. Why can't I just buy a pill? Well, I do buy a pill that helps depression. Never mind. I asked and answered. I was about to say, why can't I just get a pill that helps me with the depression? And then I realized that's exactly what I do, actually. Be like Flynn, sleep with an axe near you. True. True. I was using my, what the fuck is it called? What's the axe that firefighter people use? Axe that firefighters use. It's like an axe and like a scrapey. A Pulaski. So I've got one of these. And I was using this to break up some of the ice. It was effective, I would say. Get yourself a Pulaski. It's the best tool. It's so good. I didn't know what it was called until I posted a video in which I was using it, and a bunch of firefighters came into my comments, and they were like, Pulaski sighted! Oh, a Pulaski in the wild! Just took mine, med check, pals. Take your medicine. If you can hear my voice, take your meds. Do it. Not the firefighter beacon. Yeah, they all came running. Could have paid off my house. I don't know about that. I could have paid off a Barbie dream house, maybe. As someone working on my master's in mental health counseling, it is way too inaccessible. Rebecca B 1797. I'm going to pivot off of this. I'm just going to sort of like dovetail off your message here. This has nothing to do with you, and I'm sure that you are very wonderful at what you do. But you reminded me of a very unfortunate day that I had in therapy, where one of my early therapists was a like student still, I guess. Like she was like still getting her degree, and that's probably why I could afford her. She was very sweet. Didn't really help me much. There was one session, I don't even remember what it was, but she got really excited because as I was like pouring out my heart and soul and like trying to work through some like really painful shit, she got all excited and she was like, oh, I just did a unit on this in my class. Like, oh, it's just like this thing that I read in my textbook. And I'm like, great. I love feeling like I was written in a textbook. I'm glad that my personal experience is reminding you of your schooling. Thanks for reminding me that this is just a clinical thing. Why can't the pills just work is the bigger question. The pills for the brain, the bad brain pills, making the pills that make the bad brain be not a bad brain anymore. They don't work great. That's for damn sure. And they make it hard to come. That's for damn sure. It's fucking obnoxious. Takes so much goddamn focus. It's not here. Okay, a lot of people think that when you take SSRIs, which is the not being sad pills that most people take. There's other types of not being sad pills. But when you're taking the not being sad pills, SSRIs, it essentially, it doesn't, a lot of people think that it you know, pop culture wise, they think that you can't get horny or get hard. That's not the case. It's so much more sinister than that. That's not really affected. What's affected is your ability to reach climax. So you can still get horny, but it's just, it takes like a fucking NASCAR pit crew to get you over the finish line. It's brutal. Selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors. More like selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, am I right? Hey! The infinity edge. You've heard of the infinity pools. Selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor. Yeah, so it's basically just like a medicine that makes it so that your brain gets more of the good chemical. Let's see. What else is on my thing? Oh, I've got a thing. Y'all. It's finally happening. For those who are interested, I've talked a lot before about Mastodon and various decentralized social network things. I am going to do a whole video on Mastodon in the future, but for those who are either already slightly aware of what it is or are curious to learn more, I now have opened up registrations for the Mastodon server that I run. So there is a community server that's a Mastodon server for my community that largely has been for people who are in my Discord so far, but I am expanding it so that it can be a primary place where people sign up. I will say, it is currently set to manual account approval. So if you sign up for it, someone has to manually approve your account before you can use it. That's intentional to keep the community just full of people and not bots. So if you would like to sign up, you can I'll paste the link in a second here. You can sign up. You have to provide like a little bit of information about yourself, just like, you know, who you are and why you want to use it. And then we'll approve you. But the link is right here for anybody who is interested in checking out the Mastodon server for my community, astral.camp. You can sign up. We'll approve your account in a little bit. Like I said, I'm going to make a whole actual video explaining how, like, what this is, how all of this works. But it's there. That's that. Sorry, the music just ended and my brain stopped with it. Tavern music. Oh gods, Mastodon is a special type of awful. It's been years though, so maybe I should try it. Mastodon is a special type of special. I don't know about awful necessarily. It's more obtuse than other networks. It is also much better structured than other networks, in my opinion. It absolutely has problems. 100% has problems. 100%. I feel personally that the problems that it has are much less significant than the problems posed by Meta, X, etc. So there's that. But long story short, Mastodon is just a decentralized social network. All that means is similar to how you have like an email provider like Gmail. Like you would go to gmail.com to use your email, whereas somebody else might go to Yahoo, but somebody who has a Yahoo email can send an email to Gmail and back and forth and so on and so forth. That's how Mastodon works for social networking. So it's like you have your provider, but you can follow anyone from any provider, and you can chat and DM and message anyone from any provider, but you just have like your home space as well. And because you have your home space, it is owned and operated by your community. So for example, my Mastodon server is owned and operated by just me and my community staff. So like you're not beholden to some like corporate entity that's crafting some terms of service that tries to thread the needle between being a social media platform that's somewhat safe, but also allowing like fucking fascists to be on the platform. You instead have your local community that says, hey, fuck fascists. We block them. We ban them. I wonder if you read there. I guess email is right here since I guess it's like 3 decades already. Yeah, like email. So email is interesting because email is a protocol, right? Like email is not an application. Email is not an app. It is a standard form of communication on the internet, which is why you've got Gmail and Yahoo, 2 completely different companies, offering 2 email services that can cross email each other, because it's not that Google and Yahoo have an agreement to do email together. The entirety of the internet is structured with an understanding of how to handle email as it goes over the internet. So Mastodon / I'm saying Mastodon is shorthand for ActivityPub enabled social networks, but Mastodon is essentially trying to do that for social media. You have a way that a server can expose your information and posts to other places so that people can consume your content as they would on Twitter or Tumblr or wherever else. Is it possible to join directly in the app? Yes. If you download, if you're on your phone and you get like, you can get any Mastodon app. You can use their official one, but there's also a bunch of third-party ones. You can sign up directly in the app. Yeah, I think. And just like email, you can have your own email instead of Yahoo or Gmail. That too. For a while, I had my own Mastodon server that was just me, and that's it. Like that's the cool thing about this, is if you really want to go all out, you can literally have your own self-hosted Mastodon server that's just you. It's completely controlled by you. Imagine if you could interact with people on like Twitter and Blue Sky and whatever else, but you owned the server that you were interacting from, so that if those services did dumb shit, you could just be like, I'm done. I don't want to interact with them anymore, but not lose all your stuff because you weren't on Twitter or on Blue Sky. You were on your own thing. I'm going to stop talking about this now. Is it bad that I'm still using the email I created 29 years ago? No, that's rad. That's fucking sick. Tusk makes it a little easier if I remember right. Tusky, you mean? I think is the Tusky is a pretty good app for it. Yeah. I'm thirsty. Can't imagine wanting to interact with anyone on Twitter. Very fair and agreed. Also, it was just me trying to think of a social media platform people know. Adore Artemis 7004. Thank you so much for the subscribe over on YouTube. Welcome to the torches. And Space Octopus resub for 2 months on Twitch. Thank you. I almost dropped my pen, but I didn't. Amazing. Seeing more and more artists leave Twitter. I really hope that they do. Like really hope that they do, because it is genuinely a hostile platform for artists in general right now. Glad to see it. Glad to see that I didn't drop my pen, I assume. Yeah, I can't imagine wanting to interact with anyone on Twitter anymore. It's wild, y'all. Like, people, like, when I say that Twitter is a Nazi bar, it's not like, I'm not exaggerating. It is wild to go on there, like right after the murder of Alex Preddy, right? Right after that, I saw a thread up from Twitter or whatever that was a person. First, they posted being like, "Oh my God, that was an execution. There's no way to spin this. ICE fucked up." And then the post after that was they followed up by being like, "Oh, never mind. Fuck this guy." And it was because Alex Preddy was Jewish. Like, posted a picture of the guy. He was visibly Jewish. And they're like, never mind. Fuck this quote unquote white guy. Like, that is, when I say that it's a Nazi bar, like, it is a place where literal white supremacists, like the ones that will look at a dude who looks kind of Jewish and dismiss his humanity. That is the kind of people who are on Twitter. That is what I mean when I say it's a Nazi bar. Not like, oh, there's some shitty people and Laura Loomer says dumb stuff and Libs of TikTok is doxing people. I mean like a dude who experienced outrage upon witnessing the murder of a human being, recontextualized it, and was no longer feeling that outrage when he learned that the person looked Jewish. And that is explicitly allowed on Twitter. So there's that. Maybe we stop letting people have places where they feel like they can talk like that's normal. Maybe we stop pretending that like every form of speech is valid. It's not like we should get rid of free speech, but hey, maybe we shouldn't sit around being like, well, it's his constitutionally protected right to categorize people as humans or not based on their skin color and genetics. Like, hey, maybe we should stamp that shit the fuck out. Like, maybe that should be not a part of our society instead of explicitly supported. Marketplace of ideas. What's the alternative platform that you stream on? It is it's called Owncast. You can go to live.endeavorance.tv and you can watch me there. Live.endeavorance.tv. Yoink. And yoink. Hello, former Future Frog. What's up? Let's not forget that it's largely bots now too. I mean, it's a lot of bots. It's also like a lot of people who want to feel at home. You know, like it's a lot of people who want to have a place where they can express this stuff because it's not something they can express in person, right? Because it would get them punched in the teeth. Oh my goodness. Oh. Praise. Very good. Very, very good. He looks so damn cozy. He is a very cozy boy, I'll tell you. This is a new platform and I haven't seen it before. Does it work better than Twitch? So Owncast is a self-hosted streaming platform. I can pull up what it looks like. Endeavorance.tv. Oh, good. Very, very good freeze frame we got going on here. But yeah, so this is a like self-hosted like alternative streaming platform. So if anybody wants to watch on not YouTube or not Twitch, you can go to live.endeavorance.tv and you can watch there. It's just basically Twitch, but you don't need an account or anything. You just hit play. Yeah, that's kind of it. It's just an alternative option for watching. Owncast is dope. Owncast is dope. Owncast is an example of like exactly the kind of software we should have more of, because it's just like painfully easy to set up and get going with it. It just fucking works. He knows not the horrors of 18 inches of snow. So it's fine now because he can walk on top of it, right? It has frozen enough that he's able to walk on top of the snow and be fine. So he's okay with it now. When it was not yet fully frozen over and like every step he took like had him just go down into the snow, that wasn't great for him. Twitch but better, as in not Twitch. Yeah, I mean Twitch is, I don't know. I don't really know what to make of these platforms anymore. They all have a massively shitty thing at the top. And as much as I would love to just not be using these platforms, I would not have the ability to do what I want to do, which is reach people to be able to inform them about what we could be doing otherwise. So it's like, you know, I'm on the platforms to tell people to get off the platforms, but it is what it is. Twitch is not great. They'll let anybody stay on the platform if they have enough followers. Yeah, like there's a lot of really fucking terrible shit that goes on Twitch. Like there's some really bad influencers on Twitch, and it doesn't matter because they want the money. Do they have issues with adult content? I fight against Republicans by making T-Pron. I don't know who they is. Owncast? Because Owncast, if you mean Owncast, it's its own thing. Like, you run your own server, so it's there's not really a they to get approval from. At least it's not Kick or Rumble. Yeah, Kick is not a good, the both of those are not great. It's wild that there's just like an alternate right-wing internet because they can't otherwise be in decent society. That's the reality of the situation, and it's why they bitch and moan so much. It's not that social media has been catering to the left. That is laughable. It is hysterical to say that social media has catered to the left when social media has done nothing but fucking bend over backwards to help keep Republicans on their platforms, despite Republicans saying absolutely racist shit that goes against their policy. Like, famously, Twitter was like, oh, well, you know, we acknowledge that this is an extremely racist post, but he's the president of the United States, so we're not going to kick him off the platform yet. They gave him like 400 second chances. But like they don't want, or it's not that these platforms are anti-Republican or silencing Republican voices or whatever. It's just you're a fucking racist, and they're trying to do business, and racism is not good for business. And so you're just like bitching and moaning about not being allowed to be racist on the internet on a corporate for-profit website. Like, if you go into a Walmart and start shouting racial slurs, you're gonna get kicked out. That's what happens. You go into Twitter and start shouting racial slurs, you should probably get kicked out. How to call you? As in like name and pronouns. Endeavorance and Dev work for name and he, him. I'm assuming. People think that racism equals free speech. Yeah, I mean, the people who think that free speech equals I can say whatever I want without consequences, you know, the classic, like, you know, freedom from consequences, or rather, freedom of speech is not freedom from consequences, the classic. Hey, it's time for a drink. A lot of corporations are aligning so well with them because they want power aligned with Trump. Yeah, they want to not be scrutinized. They want to not be on the receiving end of like the torrent of hate. Look at what's happening in Minnesota, right? Like the current administration whipped up a frenzy of anger towards the Somali population in Minnesota and used that as pretense to send in armed goons to go kill people. It happened to a town. It could have happened to a corporate headquarters that flaunted Trump, right? It could have happened to any of them. That's why they're all sucking up. Now it's fucking pussy behavior. It doesn't make it okay. All these CEOs are big fucking weak ass babies who are just rolling over for anyone who wants to give them a little bit of money. They're still little bitch boys, but that's why. They're saying that the government is oppressing their speech when it's just society telling them that they are out of step. Yeah, it's not like you can say what you want. It's just don't be a belligerent ass about it. You can even say things that are like, let me rephrase that. You can say challenging things in good faith. You can hold opinions that many people may consider racist and try to express why you have those feelings in a way that isn't trying to be boastful about those feelings. It's like not something to be fucking proud of, that you have hate in your heart for people based on something as mundane as skin color, right? It's not a thing to celebrate. And yet that's kind of where we are with a lot of people. But they get upset when people are like, hey, that's a shitty thing to say. Like, hey, like maybe let's reframe that, or like let's look at this from a different angle, or let's be empathetic towards these people. Like, that's not crushing free speech. It's asking you to be a thoughtful member of society. Those are very different things. You can say whatever you want just as the other person has the right to call it absurd. Yeah, and it's like the classic, as I said earlier on this stream with Tim Pool being like, oh, it's my boot. Fucking just comply. Ha ha ha. Like, this is what I voted for, and blah, 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 blah. Okay. Fuck you. Like, you are saying, I think this is the way that things should happen, and you don't, and so fuck you. Like, okay, why should I agree with that statement, though? Like, why should anyone who's being told, haha, fuck you, I'm the one with the boot, be like, you know what? You've made some good points, and I will now just comply. Like, what do you expect to happen aside from people wanting to punch you in the teeth? That's what I'm getting at here. Got here at Flynn hug time, still glowing. I'm gonna give him one more good hug, and then I think I'm gonna close up and go warm up. It's really cold in here. I put on my, I don't know if people noticed that I put on my fingerless gloves about halfway through the stream because it's very cold. But I do think I'm gonna go close down here momentarily. But I'm gonna love on the dog real quick before I do that. So that's the button. Let's love on the dog real quick. You know what? I'm gonna give him a treat too. The bonus treat. Always good. Oh, look at this dog. Oh my God. I love him too fucking much. It's actually painful. Take the AC out of the window so there's no draft and lock the windows. So the interesting thing about the AC that's in there is it doesn't have a draft. I don't know why. I do have to swap out all my other ACs, but that one, for whatever reason, is not the problem. It's very difficult to explain, but the problem is the floor. There's like no insulation, and the room underneath this is unfinished / exterior-ish. Very difficult to explain. Essentially, cold air sinks underneath this room and then permeates up through a floor that basically has no insulation. So like my feet on the ground are fucking cold. Anyway, set up tour when I get enough people on my Patreon. Patreon.com/Endeavorance. All right, I'm gonna head out. I'm gonna get some lunch. I'm also gonna fucking lay down and I'm gonna take a bath. I'm gonna take a soak in the tub, warm up. That's what I'm gonna do. Hell yeah. All right, y'all. Cool. Bit of a shorter one today. Take care. Be well. I'll see y'all on Friday. For anybody who's new to the stream, I stream every Wednesday and Friday, starting at 11 a.m. U.S. Eastern. If you're on YouTube right now, I would really appreciate before you head out if you could hit like on the stream. That helps make it go a lot further. And as a reminder, one of the best ways to help me, besides signing up for Patreon or subscribing or donating or any of that stuff, is to just share my content. That's one of the best ways to help me. If there's somebody you think might like my stuff, let them know about me. That helps a ton. We're going to defeat the bear. before the end. Boom. We got to the eggplant. The evil eggplant. Alrighty, y'all. Take care. Be well. I'll see you on Friday. Bye-bye.